bring this back to call the meeting back to order. It is now 3:26 in the afternoon. We have Jory Carlson, one of the staff here with us. And Jory, we're looking forward to hearing what you and the staff have to say. So go ahead.
All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. And to the council, all of you guys, thank you for letting us be a part of this process. This is huge. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. So we'll just start out in the order of how we saw them with Josh.
Yep.
Josh seems to be super easy to work with. He's very personable. Seems to be a very good problem solver. He's willing to step in for any position that we may need him in. He even so far as said he was going to get his CDL to help out his old city just because that's what they needed of him at the time. He's very open and honest, very friendly and approachable. He's obviously very smart, so he can learn many different things on the fly and as we needed him to. Community oriented, you can tell that by being on the fire department, all the things he did with the ambulance services and everything that he did. And we just feel like, he would be a long-term fit for that. So that's kind of what we had for Josh. Now for Allie, also very personable, very capable, confident young lady. She is, she was just, like I said, she just was very confident when she was there. She has a vast knowledge of the system that we have in place as far as the IT stuff, anything like that. She also would be able to step right in and help out with anything I think we needed, especially, in that office environment where, she would be most needed, I think, right away. Carrie also qualifies. She obviously has the most experience of everybody. And the thing with her is what you see is what you get. It is right there for, she's not gonna sugarcoat anything. She's gonna tell you exactly what's going on. And, that is a wonderful trait as well. And she is also very budget conscious and fiscally responsible with the money. And I think she has the best interest of making sure that we don't, whatever city that she ends up with, they don't overstep or overreach or get themselves in a bind. So that was all good things. I think all three of them would fit. I don't think there's really a wrong choice. With that being said, our recommendation was Josh. Just the way he came in, the way he presented himself, and he just, like I said, that long-term fit, I think, was kind of where we were going with that, and I think Josh would be a great, addition to the city. So.
Well, thanks, Jory, for your input. Do the council members have anything for Jory? Any follow-up questions or anything they'd like to add or ask? Now's the time.
Just thank you. I think you covered it all. I think we're in a very good position.
Yep.
We have three very qualified candidates. Thank you, Michael. It's going to be a tough decision because everybody can step in and do the job and be a benefit to the city, work with staff, council. It's a good problem to have.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Jory. We appreciate your time, and thank the staff, too. We really appreciate their input. It's very valuable to us, and we want them to be a part of the process, and that's why you were involved. So thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. Well, so we are at the point now. We've got staff comments, and we are now at city council deliberation. So basically, we've reached that point where we've got three candidates in front of us, and to look at what we want to do moving forward. And I think, man, I'll just start. All three of them are good. I'm impressed with all three of them. They each bring their own qualities, but there's some things there that resonate across the board. I heard communication a lot. I heard that experience-wise, I think a couple of them may have a little more of experience in certain areas, but that doesn't mean that couldn't easily learn it. I guess that's where kind of I am. So I'm trying to look at where can we hit the ground running the fastest? And I'm being honest about that because we have so much we need to do and accomplish. And thinking about who's going to handle that coming at them the best, because there's going to be a lot. And so I guess for me, When I looked at the three, they were all really equal. Right now, I would lean a little towards Ally, maybe Carrie. Maybe not in that order. I almost see him as a tie in that aspect. I like Josh. I really do. I think he would do a great job as well. So that's the challenge we have. I think all three of them are very clearly qualified. And I don't think we would make a wrong choice no matter what we went with. I think they all can do the job. So it's going to come down to, in my mind, the little details that we pick out that we think can make the difference. So I'll just leave it at that, and I want to hear what the rest of the council's got to say, and whoever wants to start, fire away.
Yeah, I can go. I need my mic.
Yep.
Not prepared to go. Yeah, I do think they're all three are qualified. I think for me, it probably came down to just the interview. And even that was hard because I think I liked Josh a lot. And then I liked Ally. And then Carrie, to me, I mean, it may have just been her personality and how she came across, as I don't know. She would probably be my third choice.
Okay.
Again, they're all qualified. So I think between Josh and Ally, I probably would have chose Ally. But that's more, I think some of the things that she said I liked about like the way she would communicate with like the city, some of those ideas that she had, like really focused on that transparency side of things. I like that she focused on like stability, and being able to sort of help with that. And she knew like things about the city. Like I feel like she had done
She did her research.
done her
She did her
research,
homework.
and I thought that was
Yep,
very evident in her answers, which
Yes.
wasn't always true for the other two.
correct. Correct. And I would echo that. She definitely did her homework. When she talked about knowing about that we were going to increase sewer rates, that's just something we recently talked about. So she either went and looked at our council minutes or watched the meeting or did something like that to understand that was going on. So that was, she had done her homework there and looked at that. And she'd made a couple other comments about a couple other things that I noticed that she definitely had paid attention to the details, so.
Yeah, but I think for me, it's between Josh and Ally. I think I would lean more towards Ally,
Okay.
but
Yep.
yeah,
All right, thank you.
all good.
Thank you. Councilmember Jensen.
Well, we have three strong candidates. I think everybody is a good fit with staff, and that was a high priority for me, based on previously what had happened. I think Josh and Ally, in my opinion, were the two I was leaning towards, but Ally, to me, the depth of her answers and her understanding of communication and, did her homework. I think she stood out above Josh, and I like Josh, and I think he would step right in. But Ally's understanding of all the issues and her background and experience, because we need, in my opinion, the city, we need continuity for staff, council, the community. The city hasn't had this in a while, and to me, we need it. Because we have, just what the projects that you listed, we have a lot on our plate. This year is kind of a holding pattern. Whomever we make an offer to, it's, getting up to speed and then, hit the ground running, in 2026. But my choice would be Ally. I was very, very impressed with her expertise and just the depth of her answers.
Thank you, Councilmember Jensen. Councilmember Maroney.
Not much new to add. All three of them, again, interviewed very well. Ally did come back with the stronger answers. What resonated me with the most was her personality on how she approached those answers. It wasn't just facts. It was, she was kind of trying to make a personal touch with a lot of those things. And, her open and willingness to be team player, that was resonated. The homework that she did, that stood out. She launched the communications for Minnetrista, and that's something that we need to bring back. So that was a strong suit in my eyes of being able to hit that and get that back established, not necessarily in her role, but at least established and on how that's going to be maintained. Josh, I think that he interviewed well as well. I think he'd be a very good candidate, but I think Allie just had a little bit stronger of the personality and the interview skills. And the people management portion, that's something, I think it was her that mentioned it. You can't teach that. You can teach somebody capital improvement plans, but personality and how to interact with others, that is something that's a talent that you just have
Yeah,
or
it's
not.
innate. You either have it or you don't.
Yep.
There's no in between. You're not going to learn that out of a book or a class.
Correct.
No matter how long you try.
Well, and I also like Dally's approach of, you have a question, go talk to Public Works, go talk to, admin. Where previously the communication was controlled and the preferred method was everything went through the administrator, and I don't agree with that. If I have a question, I'm going to go to Joe, I'll go to Jory, whomever can provide the answer. Because at the end of the day, as council members, we don't do staff's job.
Right.
And who better to answer the questions? What is it you need? Like when we address staffing, our staff has to, have big input into that. What is it that they need? We can have our own ideas of what we feel might be needed, but again, they do the jobs.
Yeah, I would say the only thing that I would say to that, and I agree, it shouldn't go through the administrator. My big thing is always to make sure the administrator is informed.
Absolutely, yes.
So if a council member is going to one of our department heads and talking to them, the administrator needs to be pulled into the loop so they know what's going on. Because if you don't do that, then you alienate your administrator.
Correct.
So it can go the reverse then. And so that's my concern would be, is to make sure that the administrator is always informed. It's kind of like, and I'll be honest, it's why when I have people approach me about things, I say, let's get this process started through the administrator. Would you please contact our city administrator and work it that way, whether it's the public or whatever, because I want them involved in the chain, in the loop, because they at the end of the day are going to be the ones that are going to answer it to us. So that's my only thing about that.
I agree, but
I like the idea of you being able to go to a director and talk to them and be able to say, hey, this is a question I have. I just think it's important that the administrator be aware.
And a lot of it is being liaison, say, to streets committee. Obviously, we're not experts on streets. Questions like that are directed based upon, but absolutely the administrator needs to be in the loop.
So that
I
would be,
100% agree.
that would be my only clarification on it. But no, I agree. I think Allie, she resonated. And she knew her stuff, and either one of them I think would do well, but I do think that Allie's got a little more of that. I guess I like the fact that she took time to tell us that she wants to be here and she wants to be in the community and she wants to be here for long term, and this isn't a stepping stone and they want to be here. And you talked about consistency. We need that.
Yes, we do.
We had too much of this.
Too much
A
turn.
year here, two here, now we got another one, and that's hard on your staff, that's hard on the council, that's hard on the constituents to be able to get any continuity going, so.
Well, and we've asked a lot of staff.
We have.
And thankfully,
They haven't
Jerry
all run
Bond
away on us.
is available to help us navigate
They're all
this.
staying.
You're talking about me about not involving people.
No, we're very lucky to have you, Jerry.
So, okay, well, I'm hearing a consensus among the council that Ally is probably our pick. Do we need to have an actual motion on that? It probably should. Yeah.
Probably,
Yes.
I would suggest though, that if in fact you choose number one, that you have a number two,
Back up.
you can fall back on.
I agree.
In fact, number one falls through.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
Rather than having to go through another meeting and all
Yep.
that kind of
Well, I think our number 2 sounds like Josh,
Correct.
from
I
what
would
I'm
agree.
hearing. Am I correct on that? So our number 1 candidate would be Ally, and our number 2 would be Josh. So we probably need a motion to some effect that states that, and that then we would agree to enter into that negotiations in executive session. So do I have a motion? Okay, so I have a motion from Councilmember Maroney to, our first choice selection is Ally Plasfus, with our second being Josh Wilson, and to pending one of them stating that they would be willing to come into the position that we'd enter into negotiations with an executive session. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a second on the motion. Do I have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. All right, so I am now going to call this regular meeting into recess at 3:43, and we will now enter into a closed session to discuss negotiation strategy.